Engines thunder, tires scream. Then, impact, metal twists, glass bursts, adrenaline surges. In a heartbeat, calm turns to chaos. This is real footage, no filters, no mercy. Buckle up. The driver lost control and crashed into a building, which immediately collapsed onto the car, burying it under the rubble. A calm day at the market unfolds as people browse through the stalls. Within seconds, a thick white cloud engulfs the area, swallowing everything and everyone in sight. Inside the warehouse, rows of electronic goods sit neatly stacked. Then sparks appear, and within moments, flames spread rapidly as terrified workers rush to escape.
Meu Deus!
On a rural road, a buffalo charges after a fleeing man. Cornered, it rears up on two legs and slams against a nearby car in a burst of raw force. A drunk driver sped down the road, crashing into everything in his path. After parking, he walked away as if nothing happened, but police soon caught him. One reckless maneuver sets off disaster. After being cut off, the second driver loses control and crashes into a roadside fence. On a busy highway, a car collides with a Kamaz truck. The impact sends debris flying as traffic screeches to a halt. The car slips on the slick road and drifts across the center line. In the next instant, it collides head-on with an oncoming vehicle. The bridge stands firm above the flowing river, a picture of stability. Then, with a sudden rumble, its structure gives way and collapses into the water below.
From Victor Martins, is he going to take the lead from Alex Dunn? Oh!
During the race, a single mistake sets off a chain reaction. Cars spin out, collide, and pile up in a massive crash across the track.
Yes.
Losing control, the small car veers onto the shoulder. In seconds, it crashes into a passing truck, the impact echoing across the road. The plane wobbles in the sky, struggling to maintain its course. Moments later, it plunges to the ground, sending a massive cloud of smoke billowing into the air. A car slows down to make a turn, its signal blinking calmly. But the driver behind reacts a second too late, and the sound of metal meeting metal shatters the routine silence. A small car pulls out to make a turn, unaware of a speeding truck approaching. The icy road leaves the truck no chance to stop, and in moments, it crashes into the helpless vehicle. The driver attempted to overtake in the oncoming lane, but misjudged the distance, causing a serious crash, a reminder to stay alert on the road. A drunk driver swerves wildly along the roadside. Again and again, he crashes into the barriers, turning the road into a scene of chaos. A small car tries to overtake another that's already passing. Losing control for just a moment, it skids and crashes into the vehicle ahead. On the roadside, a car burns fiercely, flames consuming its frame. The heat distorts the air as smoke rises into the cold sky, a haunting sight of destruction. A driver records a truck moving slowly down the road. Its twisted frame and shattered panels reveal the aftermath of a serious crash. The rocket launches with a roar, rising confidently into the sky. But within seconds, it tilts downward, plummeting nose first to the ground before exploding in a fiery blast. The car skids on the icy road, the driver fighting to regain control. But as it spins around, the rear end slams straight into a passing truck, the struggle ending in a violent crash. An ambulance rushes through a red light, sirens blaring. But a speeding car crosses the same intersection, colliding with it and flipping the ambulance onto its side. A truck tows a car on a rope, moving steadily down the uneven road. When it hits a bump, the towed vehicle swings wildly to the side, smashing into several parked cars, leaving a trail of damage behind. Roadside poles came crashing down onto the passing cars, but fortunately, no one was injured. A reckless driver cuts sharply in front of another car. The startled driver swerves, losing control, and slams violently into the roadside fence. A passing car's dashcam captures an ordinary stretch of road. Then, out of nowhere, a fiery red explosion rises like a mushroom cloud, filling the sky with shock and awe. The car driver fell asleep at the wheel and crashed into a truck, a tragic outcome of a moment's drowsiness. A truck brakes suddenly, forcing the Kamaz behind it to swerve, unable to stop in time. As it veers into the opposite lane, a small car appears, and the collision becomes unavoidable. A car crashed into a pole and was badly dented, but the driver calmly got out and started jumping on the damage, trying to fix it himself. A Kamaz truck rolls forward uncontrollably, slamming into another parked Kamaz. The driver standing nearby barely escapes being hit. In a quiet neighborhood, a manhole suddenly explodes beside parked cars. Thick white smoke pours out, engulfing the street in moments. A small car loses control and swerves toward a man standing beside his vehicle. He jumps just in time, landing on the hood as the car screeches to a halt. A car stalls right on the train tracks, its driver frozen in panic. Just in time, another motorist rushes in with a tow rope, pulling the vehicle to safety seconds before disaster. The truck driver fails to notice that his vehicle has rolled under a fence. As he presses the gas, the truck strains against the metal until the rear wheels lift off the ground, trapped by the barrier behind. The car loses control on the icy pavement, skidding sideways into oncoming traffic. Within seconds, it slams into a moving truck, the impact shaking the entire roadway. Losing control, the car swerves onto the shoulder. There, it crashes into another vehicle already driving along the edge of the road. A heavy truck approaches too fast to brake in time. Within seconds, it plows into the line of waiting cars ahead, metal crunching under its unstoppable weight. A man steps onto the road, unaware of the danger ahead. The speeding truck veers off to avoid him, but the shoulder gives way, sending the massive vehicle plunging into the river below. At a crowded intersection, two cars enter at the same moment. Neither slows down, and the inevitable collision follows with a sharp, echoing crash. Ignoring the red light, the driver speeds ahead, certain he'll make it through. A split second later, another car slams into his side. A brutal reminder that haste on the road can cost dearly. A drunk driver weaves down the street in chaos. One by one, parked cars fall victim to his reckless path. The car driver fell asleep and drifted into the oncoming lane. The truck hit at full speed, leaving no chance of escape. A Kamaz truck loaded with concrete beams struggles to stay steady on icy roads. As it skids out of control, the heavy beams spill onto the opposite lane, heading straight toward oncoming cars. Two heavy trucks collide with a thunderous impact. Moments later, one of them bursts into flames, sending thick smoke into the sky. Here, a speeding car crashes into a truck at full force. Yet, miraculously, everyone survived. In broad daylight, a drunk driver weaves through traffic, ignoring every sign of danger. His reckless show ends abruptly as the car plunges into a nearby pond. At a smelting plant, a driver carefully dumps waste into the molten pool. Suddenly, the lava bubbles and bursts, splashing fiery liquid onto the vehicle. Raging water presses against the concrete barrier, its force growing by the second. Then the wall gives way, unleashing a torrent that floods the streets and engulfs the city below. A bus crossing the railway tracks collided with a train, a terrifying moment that shows how a second's mistake can lead to disaster. The driver loses control on a narrow street. The car veers off course and slams into a parked vehicle with a loud crunch. Losing control, a Kamaz truck barrels forward uncontrollably. It plows into the cars ahead, triggering a massive and terrifying chain reaction crash. At a busy intersection, a bus approaches too fast to stop in time. It slams into a small car ahead, a moment of miscalculation with devastating results. Two cars approach the intersection from opposite sides. In a split second of misjudgment, they collide, scattering debris across the road. At a snowy intersection, a car turns slowly across the lane. Suddenly, another vehicle rushes in and hits it hard, the crash breaking the stillness of the scene. A truck's wheel flew off and hit the car behind. The impact was so strong, the car flipped over. A quiet road turns chaotic as a car drifts into the path of a bus. In a split second, calm gives way to catastrophe. At a busy intersection, one mistake sets off chaos. 5 cars collide in a massive chain reaction, turning the crossing into a scene of wreckage.
I changed his mind. Oh no, no! Oh my god!
The helicopter begins to wobble mid-air, losing stability. Within seconds, it spirals downward and crashes hard into the ground. 2 cars enter the intersection at the same time. Neither driver yields, and their sudden collision sends debris flying across the road. A pedestrian crosses the road away from the crosswalk, unaware of the danger. Drivers slam on their brakes over the icy surface, but instead of stopping, the cars crash into each other in a desperate attempt to avoid him. A racer pushes his car to the limit, but control slips away. The vehicle slams into a fence at full speed, erupting in a sudden fiery explosion. A trolley bus moves forward as two cars hesitate to clear the road. With no time to stop, it crashes into both, pushing them aside with its massive weight. The small car slips on the icy road, spinning out of control. In a split second, it crashes into an oncoming vehicle, a brief loss of grip, turning into a serious collision. The aircraft veers off its path, losing control as it descends. Seconds later, it slams into a wall, triggering a massive explosion that engulfs the scene in fire. A truck rumbles down the road when suddenly flames burst from its frame. Within seconds, the vehicle is engulfed in fire, forcing the driver to stop and escape. Security footage shows an ordinary shift at the factory. Without warning, a fierce blaze erupts, consuming the building in a matter of moments. At the intersection, a driver ran a red light and slammed into a turning car at full speed, then fled the scene right after the crash. Losing control on the slippery road, the car slides into the opposite lane. A moment later, it crashes into an oncoming vehicle with brutal force. At the intersection, one car begins a careful turn, but another, speeding straight through, crashes into it, the quiet street erupting in the sound of impact. The driver lost control and crashed straight into an expensive parked car, turning a mistake into a costly accident. As the car speeds down the road, a sudden blast rips through the front. The bumper flies off completely, scattering debris across the pavement. A plane descends low over the highway, struggling to stay aloft. Moments later, it crashes onto the road and erupts into a fiery explosion. A car speeds toward an intersection as another begins to turn. With the road coated in ice, the driver has no chance to stop, and the collision is sudden and severe. A firefighting helicopter hovers low over the lake to collect water. But in a sudden loss of control, it tilts and plunges straight into the water below. A car moves out to overtake, trying to gain just a few seconds. But the risky maneuver ends in a head-on collision with an oncoming vehicle. On a quiet village road, a driver loses control. The car veers off course and slams straight into a utility pole. At a busy intersection, two vehicles cross paths. In an instant, a loud crash breaks the flow of traffic. The car speeds down the road, swaying slightly from side to side. Suddenly, it loses control and slams hard into a fence, sending debris flying in all directions. As the truck rumbles down the road, a large icicle breaks free from its roof. In an instant, it crashes onto a passing car, a chilling reminder of hidden winter dangers. A heavy truck loses traction on the icy road, its trailer swaying uncontrollably. Within seconds, it crosses the center line and smashes into another truck coming from the opposite side. A heavy truck loses control on the icy road, swerving across the center line. In a split second, it crashes head-on into another truck coming from the opposite direction. The plane descends unevenly, struggling to regain balance. Then, in a devastating moment, it crashes straight into the ground with overwhelming force. A car soared through the air above the road. Not Superman, not a meteor, but a real vehicle flying at full speed. Crazy crashes, epic saves, don't blink. Like and subscribe for more jaw-dropping moments.